Today, Daniel and I talked to Patrick Lavery, our cabinet designer and fabricator, who owns a company called Curated Cabinetry.
Yeah. Patrick and I go back a long time. I've known him for over a decade, and it was a great conversation. I got to know some things I didn't know about Patrick, his early days, traveling kind of the west of the country as a carpenter, and kind of the way he has grown from that to now running his own business. We also get a little bit into something that I find is a controversial topic about site finished versus factory finished cabinets, and the pros and cons of that. But yeah, he's an interesting guy with a lot of experience.
He is.
Okay, today we've got Patrick Lavery with us of Curated Cabinetry. Patrick,
welcome, Patrick.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So
to be here.
Tim, I don't know how much you know about this, but Patrick and I actually go back quite a long ways. I met him first in 2008. Six.
Wow.
Kitchen craft,
yeah. So my wife and I were designing and building our first house.
They were girlfriend, boyfriend.
That's right. And we actually went in there to look at appliances and stumbled across Patrick.
Met each other.
Yeah. And then he ended up doing our kitchen. And then when I started my own company, he worked for me for many years doing that. But anyway, you and I have sort of the inverse of career paths, where I started my own company and worked at that for many years, and then now I'm working with a different company. You worked for different companies for many years and then started your own company, which you're running now. So if you could go back to before all of that and just give us some history, high-level history of the beginnings of Patrick Lavery as a carpenter, as a wood pusher, as you call it, all the way now to you operating your own company as a cabinet designer and installer.
I grew up in northern Utah, and back in the 90s, carpenter worked for $12 an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, you made good money.
Yeah, and that wasn't bad. And not enough to feed a family. Actually, I had to work a second job in order to make ends meet. And I was working as an artist back in that time, doing commission and do art shows. And ultimately, I ended up in Seattle. When I got up there, I found out that tradespeople actually have a value that is not easily found. And suddenly, the wages doubled, tripled, and I was like, wow, and I got to do work on very creative projects, from raising houses up on stilts to build theater systems underneath.
So like framing or finished carpentry,
all of the above.
All of it, just
all of
anything.
It. I was a gun for hire.
Yeah.
I had been hired by a temp agency up there.
Huh.
They had insurance, vacation. They had bonuses if you didn't get hurt. And I'm like, what? It was just like, it kills me. A temp agency for carpentry.
Yeah.
They were wonderful. And I did that for 3 years there in Seattle. And ultimately, then my mom was on decline, ended up down Jackson Hole area to repair some snow damage at my parents, and spent the summer there getting time with my mom and being able to rebuild decks, build windows, doors, all sorts of stuff while I was there. And my fiance of the time was with me, and we went down to Santa Fe, one of your favorite places.
Yeah.
And I got down there and I'm like, oh my God, I am moving. I am done with Seattle. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Jackson Hole area, wonderful, too small. I'm not going to find a living there. And while I was just visiting down there, I was repairing a door that had been kicked in on her family's property there. And I met somebody that made custom doors. I'm like, oh, why don't we do that? So I went down there and started making custom doors. It was a fun time doing that, but it also involved repairing people's houses that had been kicked in.
Yeah.
And I found that very challenging.
Yeah.
People had been violated, and I was, it hurt to kind of be at their houses and see what they were going through. So
Mm.
I started building furniture pieces for artists there in the El Dorado community, and met a guy that had a cabinet company that wanted to interview me. And I'm like, I built cabinets, doors, windows. Okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Let's go learn how to design. And I put my tool bags down
Yeah.
and have only picked them up for fun with you and others since.
How old were you when you started doing that?
I would have been 37 today.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's about the time that a lot of people decide to put the tool bags down, and when it starts taking a toll on your body after a while.
Yeah.
It was part that. It was part. I'd worked as an undergrad and in high school cooking in kitchens, so I always had a love of cooking. And then I went to school for marketing, and I wanted to just work with my hands.
Yeah.
Well, by the time somebody asked me, "Hey, do you want to do marketing?" design kitchens and build stuff, I'm like, ugh, and I can get paid for this?
Yeah.
I'm like, wonderful.
Wow.
That's a neat story.
Wow. So then did you come from Santa Fe to the Austin area, or was there something in between? Yeah.
It's been on my bucket list to go to Austin. Came out here, had a job before I left.
Nice.
Looked at Somatic, looked at Kitchen Craft. And I said, wow, Somatic, that's great, cool, German cabinetry.
Yeah.
How many projects could you actually do in that here in Austin? Is it really that affluent yet?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you better go the safe route with Kitchen Craft.
Yeah.
You can build your clientele, your builder clientele. And that's what I was doing at the Kitchen Craft.
Yeah, right.
And would not have met you because I wasn't supposed to be out on the floor.
That's funny.
That was an accident that she just happened to be in there, and I came out and said hello. And exactly.
All right, so let's fast forward. You worked at Kitchen Craft. You worked at several different companies after that. At some point, you said, you know what? I would rather do my own thing. I'm controlling all the aspects of the project, and you made the leap, right? Like you had a partner, or just you?
2012, 13, I looked at 3 different business plans and put together different opportunities. I looked at doing a co-op situation with other designers, just bring in a collective. I had the connections within the industry at that point, different brands, different levels. And at the time, you really did want to be kind of diversified with it. And I had asked a couple of people, said, hey, if you decide you're interested in this, let's do it. I'm ready. And pulled trigger once I finally got who I wanted. And it was somebody that I knew was motivated. You weren't going to have to lead them. They were self-starters. And that's all I cared about. It's like, I don't want to carry people.
Yeah. And your focus at that time, is it mostly, would you say the majority of what you do is kitchen renovations, or are you at that time kind of taking whatever comes to you?
No, I'm a self-starter. It's like in Santa Fe, the first thing I learned there is all you have to do is go visit the builders.
Mm-hmm.
You can sit and wait for people to come to you as a retail establishment. But if you want consistent business and build a relationship, and our industry is 100% a relationship.
It is.
You have to
very much
learn how your team works. And if you don't like how the team works, don't work with them. Go work with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I've been through lots of builder experiences that were wonderful, and I've had the ones that weren't wonderful. And I want to work with people I want to work with. So, but in Santa Fe, I found in a year's time, I built 30 builders that I was working with from Albuquerque up through Santa Fe, all by cold calling. Just go out and ask for a set of plans. Back then, it was a set of plans. You didn't get an email with a digital set. You had to go get the paper set.
Yeah.
But here in Austin, it was the same way. I've always been in outside sales, working with builders. After I left Kitchen Craft, I went to Kiva, as you recall, and started their cabinet division for the national company for the Austin showroom. So it gave me the experience of designing out a whole entire showroom of appliances, cabinets. And it was interesting for me because I was able, in my mind, I'm an educator. That's what I do. I have to take people from point A to point B and show them the options and educate them about what's out there.
Yeah.
So in the showroom, I had designed mistakes on purpose, so that I could stand and show somebody, well, look at this and look at this. See what's wrong here?
Smart.
And it was great because it allowed me to have interactions, and you could get through appointments just by like, okay, let me show you this vignette and explain things to them. So it worked out great for doing retail. We all know what 2008 was here in Austin. It was get your butt ready to remodel. No specs on the ground, everything soft. But there was plenty of remodel work, and the good contractors survived. The bad contractors went away because they didn't know how to compete in that, because remodel work is so different from new construction, because it's really a challenge of, can I think on my feet? Can I assess a problem?
Right.
Come up with a solution and have that all happen within a matter of minutes. And if you can, you're going to excel at remodeling, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, we do often talk about any good builder should have been a remodeler at some point to be able to really see
Absolutely
how things get put together, mistakes that have been made, overcome all those challenges.
That's right.
All right, let's bring your story and our story together a little bit here and talk about, here at Reisinger Build, we have a particular way that we do things, a particular process with the way we do things. With a large emphasis on pre-construction. So the pre-construction, before the project starts being built, right, we assemble what we say is the team of consultants and people that are going to assist in the design of the building. And the cabinet designer, I think, is an integral part of that. Maybe not early on, but at some point in that process during design development. So what do you think, what are the strengths that you bring to the table, and how do you sort of work through our process in the pre-construction? What is that? How does that differ maybe from some other builders? And also, like, how do you find the value in that?
The teams and situations I work the best in are that kind of situation, because I'm a tool. I'm a tool for you. I'm somebody that can sit and look at this and figure out, how do we go from these conceptual walls? And if we think of our Dripping Springs project, that was just a matter of walls.
Yeah.
Not much there.
Now
right?
can we
Yeah.
can we design this and come up with, and you go out there and you go see what we created. It's like, oh my
Well,
goodness.
that's a unique project in that the cabinets make the rooms. They define the
They do.
rooms,
Yeah, that's a
right?
good point.
Because it's really just a volume of a few
Space,
rooms
yeah.
that serve multiple purposes,
Mhm.
and the cabinets kind of define the purpose. So that's
Yeah.
Totally agree.
great
They're the
example.
anchor of the spaces. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
And I think getting in as early as possible in the design process allows me to help establish budget numbers, which ultimately is where we have to hang our hat. We can't build things and tell people that, oh yeah, we'll be able to hit this. Oh wait, no, we're 2 million more than that. We have to be able to go, okay, we can get you here from point A to point B. And the earlier you get in a large budget number, as cabinetry and finished goods are,
Yeah.
the sooner we get oh wow, we've got accuracy. We know our budget is where it needs to be, and I will always cater to give it to me early. I know it's not baked. I know this isn't our set we're going to build. It's not a permanent set, but let's get some number based on something. We know what these people are going to want.
Yeah. I think cabinets are a unique component of custom home building, and from several perspectives. So specifically what I'm referring to is that they represent somewhere between 5 and 10% of the cost of the project. Right. So it's a big investment for clients. But when they do this, typically they've bought a house that was existing before, or they bought a spec home where it was already done. And typically the cabinets weren't as much of a feature or as extensive in those previous homes they've had. So when they see a large portion of their budget contributed to cabinetry work, they think, oh, there's something wrong here. It takes going through the design iterative process with the architect, the interior designer, and the builder to develop a good vision or a visual in the client's mind to see, oh, well, now I see the extent of what I'm getting and it has value.
Yeah.
And they get to see it in 3D. They get to see it in the details that they can imagine using and living with, which is much more than a, as you said, just some blank walls or some blocked drawings of cabinets that architects start off with. So adding that component of having cabinet designer on board during pre-construction has made a tremendous difference in the experience we go through. And I'm sure you too.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah. I think something, as we talk about assembling this team, which that team consists of architects, engineers, interior designers, you have extensive experience working closely with interior designers, working closely with architects, which allows that process to sort of go smoothly, right? Like you understand how they operate and how they think, and you have sort of adjusted your methods to match that.
Oh, I think our industry has just changed. Instead of just sitting waiting for the next person, nobody taking ownership of, oh, well, I only work on this one myopic part, and that's all I work on. It should be this, we're all looking to build the same great house,
Yeah.
whatever the budget is,
Yeah.
the very most we can. And it's all about working as a team.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't I be in touch with the architect beforehand? There's no guessing at what the dimensions are on something. You can call them up, schedule an appointment, go meet with them. Same way with the interior designer, spend the time you got to spend with them.
We were just talking about that in another podcast that we did with one of our staff project managers and the value of collaboration. 10 years ago, even as recent as that, we didn't even look at custom home building experience as much from a collaborative standpoint as we do today, because we've learned so much that having each of these experts in their field working together to design something that's not only beautiful and achieves all the goals that the architect and the client want, but is done in an efficient way that gives the greatest return for the least amount of investment. And I think that's what our clients look to us for, is to monitor and manage that process, if you will, so that they get the best outcome.
All right, let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the products that you create. So what I would first like to talk about is sort of a big question that always comes up: site finished versus factory finished, right? We talk about this a lot and the pros and cons of each.
Right.
Your product's not site finished.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Well,
So if you could just kind of speak to that and sort of educate people as to why you believe that to be the case, why factory finish in your mind is the superior product.
Well, it just is. There's no simple way to put it. We went from, in my childhood, where we'd build our own stuff, we'd put our own finish on things, and that was all well and good. They came out with a catalyzed finish where they add the catalyst to the lacquer finish or the paint, and then they do it in a controlled environment. Best thing I ever heard as an analogy for it is, where do you get your car painted? Do you do it in a parking lot? No. It's done in a paint booth.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, where should your cabinets get done? Out in the dusty confines of a new construction? It's full of dust in there. I went to parade homes when I got to Austin, and even out in Santa Fe. I'd go to parade homes. I'm like, these are really beautiful. And then I'd put my hand on the finish. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like sandpaper. I just was like, cringing at, why is this not butter?
Yeah.
This really should be a next level up. Moreover, manufacturing, when they started the catalyzed finishes, 25 on up to 30 with some, they started putting lifetime warranties on the product. Why did they start putting It's not because they build a cabinet different then to now. It's that finish. It's where they could finally go, hey, we can stand behind this now. You know, unless you're going to be hard on your cabinets, like just flagrantly hard, this finish will hold up. And those are, as a designer, those are questions that I try to get out of people. Who are you? Are you a bull in a china shop? Because if you are, then maybe I should put you in melamine or a wood finish that is more durable than a paint finish.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to bang your cast iron against the front of your cabinets when you pull it out, it's going to damage it.
Yeah.
But side finished, I used to do that when I built cabinets. We would put our own finish on things and tables and different things that I built or worked on over the years. And great, you could build up 7 coats of oil to get a nice tongue oil finish on something and build it up to where, I can put a wet glass on there and it's not going to leave a mark.
Yeah.
But the cost of doing that was astronomical.
Astronomical.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to pay for that. I still believe there's a place for those kind of finishes within our building industry. But as far as what is practical, give our customers the very best product that's out there, it's always going to be a manufactured material where they can put that catalyzed finish on it. And then it comes down to side build. Oh, they're custom. Oh, you mean you use a tape to build these? I do too. I have my favorite question from an owner of a company. The last time I worked for somebody was, what's your tolerances on cabinets, Patrick? Is it like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch? And I turned and I looked at him. I'm like, my tape's got 16 marks on it. You think I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, it used to be mid-level cabinetry. It was all frame construction, face frame. And so the lesser cabinet lines came in 3-inch increments. So you had to use fillers. Well, I have to use fillers anywhere because there's places you just need fillers. All cabinets are custom these days to some extent. Maybe they're semi-custom because somebody can't afford an upper end level of cabinetry, but they're all custom, every bit as custom as whatever Phil or Jose that built them in their garage, brought them out or built them on site like we used to do 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, building an 8-foot wide cabinet on a wall in place is not a better cabinet. I end up with a fixed shelf in there. There's no adjustability to it. It's not modifiable. The doors aren't made to open the way is correct for a cooking situation.
Yeah.
When those options first came out, I just want to say that historically, and you'll remember this, when the options came out to actually order cabinets that were measured on site, built off site, finished off site, then installed on site to the custom measurements, we used to call those as a differentiator. Oh, these are furniture grade cabinets, as opposed to what was before non-furniture grade cabinets.
Yeah.
But they're all.
That is classic.
I do think that is one of the big misconceptions about pre-finished cabinetry is that it is not customizable, that you are pinned into certain cabinet widths or certain cabinet styles and shapes. But the way that you, with your carpentry background, are able to accommodate the architect's designs or the interior designer's designs, and really, I mean, you can build anything, any shape, whatever it is. It doesn't matter that it's built somewhere else.
In many cases, you couldn't do it on site.
That's true.
There's no way you could
Absolutely.
create some of those things you do on site.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it can be engineered, it can be built.
Yeah.
And then becomes a trick of how do I get it in there?
Right.
It's like I had a Westlake Drive project, and this guy wanted me to build this sleep number, king size bed out of a diamond gloss finish.
Wow.
High lacquer finish.
Wow.
And it's up on the top floor, right on the water. He's a former A&M football player back in the late 70s. He's like, I want to be able to lay in bed and see the lake. So I built it 32 inches tall. The factory's Elmwood was like, are you sure this is what he wants? And I'm like, no, serious. And we got it out there, and everybody's like, how in the heck are you going to get that up to it's all built, the house. How do you get that up into that guy's room?
Yeah.
I said, oh, we're going to use straps. I need 4 guys. I'll pull the guy wire from down beneath. And we carried it up a deck at a time. I made the owner leave town. I did not need that challenge. And when it was over the Christmas holidays, we got them up there, picture perfect.
Yeah.
Wow.
They dropped it.
That's great.
2 pieces, 8 foot. And because I didn't want any joints. It's a high lacquer finish. You want these built as one.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
And what about, I know one of the other sort of things is like people talk about, well, you can't really do inset cabinets. That's not true, right? What are the challenge of doing an inset cabinet?
designing your runs to where you can link your cabinets together as best you can to build them as a single unit.
Yeah.
So you keep it to an 8 foot, maybe a 10 foot. And we'll be doing this on our rolling wood project where that kitchen setup, so much of the design of that was all me just going, no, we can't do those things for this.
Yeah.
We need to do it this way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that one you did work intimately with the interior designers
And the owner. Yeah.
and the owner.
Yeah.
Every step of the way and still working.
and our architect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The architectural team is
Yeah.
got a meeting with him this coming week. I want to know and go over every last detail before we finalize drawings to where once we pass it off to our project manager, he goes, okay, we just follow this. This is our Bible. And we laminate our drawings and we put them on the wall just like we did out in Dripping.
Yeah.
Makes it easy.
Yeah.
Everybody can follow them.
Yeah.
Don't go back looking somewhere else to try and figure out where you need your plumbing line.
Yeah.
Here's where that sink is. Here's where that appliance is. Here's where we need our electrical. The challenges in our construction are these crazy cool systems that are the electrical, the appliances, the details of those. It's all about the pre-research of figuring them out. You can't wait and hold on to that package and go, I'll figure that out when we get we deliver.
No, there's none of that anymore. Yeah.
No, it's not a freestanding 30-inch range. It's you're out there going, oh, this is a built-in steamer that's fitting down inside the countertop, and just
one of the big things that I've seen, at least in my time building homes, that has changed tremendously, I think, is the technology and the complexity of hardware that allows these crazy designs to take place, whether they're hidden doors or super large doors that fold away in certain things. You use a lot of that in your designs.
They come up more and more. I love those. I think they're the coolest thing. But I think the toughest thing about them, it's easy to design that kind of stuff into people's homes.
Yeah. But in practice,
well, because it's a budgetary thing.
Yeah.
You're paying the hardware for that's going to be like $500 to make a 3 foot wide by 8 foot tall bookcase pivot and be built into where it looks like those aren't bookcases, or they're just bookcases. They're not doors.
Yeah.
And when you start trying to show people, this is what your architect designed. Is this really what you want? Sometimes I want to change those because I know they're not aware of the dollar amount they're spending on something that I think we could have done other ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to the question, is it worth it? And that really is up to the client.
It's up to the client. Absolutely. It's a give and take thing, but this is goes back to what I said about the educational. It is what my role is. You need to just sit there and like feed them information, make sure they understand what their choices are, where they're spending their money, and is this what you really want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't get down the road finding out, well, I didn't realize this was going to cost me an arm and a leg for this one thing. And it's like, yeah, sorry, I didn't do my job.
Yeah. Well,
because that's what the situation would be.
man, it's very true sometimes. Let me ask you a question about the history of cabinets in this country. So, many years ago, we only had overlay doors.
Yep.
And typically the hinges were exposed, and they were very traditional looking
Finial hinges.
Yeah. Right. And some point in the 70s, California came up with this idea of a California hinge, which allowed the hinge to be concealed, but there's a little notch in the back of the door.
Yep.
They call that California hinge.
Yeah. Love those.
And we did that for quite a while. And then all of a sudden, hardware companies were able to figure out a way to integrate the hinges in the doors and the frames better. Was that kind of an advancement that allowed us to do inset doors and concealed hinge overlay doors, was that really from Europe, or did we develop that more here in this country?
I would say it came from Europe, personally. I think that's a Bloom innovation. They pushed the envelope as far as the cup hinge that allowed us to do a full overlay door. Like forever, it was like standard overlay, 1 inch
Right.
around your door.
Right.
And everybody's like, yeah, but I want to see the door. That's the key component of this, is to see the door style. And those doors were 1.5 inches, maybe, most
Right.
of those doors were super skinny. Suddenly we went to a full overlay door, went to 1/4 inch gaps, but every time you put in 2 cabinets together, 1/4 and 1/4 made a half. So you had the spaces that ended up, and they weren't necessarily definable all the way across there. When the Europeans then had been building frameless boxes because their kitchens are so small,
Right.
they go with frameless. And as soon as I started using that, and I think that's mostly been in Austin, people weren't ready for it when I was out in Santa Fe.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
It was so slow to take off because I think designers were nervous about it because, one, you have to know your tape measure and trust it. Measure twice. You had to have a really good process about proofreading and double checking all your dimensions and feeling good about those, because you're building tight to your space. And that frameless look was a value, and people didn't grasp that at first, but every drawer box is 1.5 inches wider. The cost in your cabinetry is your drawer box. Nobody wants to get down on their hands and knees and dig in a cabinet, especially Tim and Patrick that are no longer 25 and have knees that used to work down on the floor and now can't.
Yeah.
It's like everything should be a drawer box, and it should pull out, and it should be able with one finger, open that drawer, look, throw it closed, let the soft close abate the movement of the drawer. And it's simple. The Europeans had it down. And once we got it and people started to understand how to market it, how to work with it, how to sell it, it's been, what else would we provide?
Yeah.
The inside is beautiful.
It is.
Frameless makes more sense every day of the week.
It does
twice
for a lot of
Sunday.
reasons. But what do you think was the driving force in Europe for those developments? I mean, obviously I think, that's a personal opinion, I think we have the technical expertise and the innovation to create those kinds of advancements. Was the financial pressure not too great here for us to make those advancements? In Europe, those houses cost more, and therefore they can afford those innovations? Or what do you think was the driving force there?
Honestly, it's the size of their kitchens. If you think of any of your travels over there, have been from Italy,
small kitchens,
to France, to Prague, those kitchens are so tiny. You need every square inch of it. Well, frameless gives you a full access. That's why Elmwood calls their catalog a full access cabinet, because you can see gable to gable. Drawer box goes all the way to the gables within 1/8 on each side. You get full use of that cabinet. And it all came from the size of the kitchens over there.
Right.
It was a necessity. And so the innovation was developed, and Bloom's a German company, which happens to be a country with a very deep history of great engineers.
and great craftsmen.
Yeah, craftsmen. And they hit the nail on the head.
They did.
They're still the best in the industry.
I know we're a little in the weeds here, but I love picking an expert's brain,
Yeah,
right?
that's great. I love it too.
Yeah.
I love it too.
So, home building, custom homes, even the best custom homes are built with very straight studs by very skilled carpenters with very good level instruments. But even then, when you come to a job to measure, and the project is maybe the first phase frame, second phase it's drywalled, and you notice some inconsistencies, like 1/8 of an inch here, 1/4 of an inch here, top to bottom, side to side. How do you compensate for that while still giving a true custom fitted cabinet?
Well, there's a couple, and I'd take you back to a story. I found, remember when lasers came out?
Yeah.
the first ones on a tripod, the big rolly
Sure.
spinny thing, and they were hundreds and hundreds of dollars. You really had to break the bank, and you protected that like a good level out on your job site because you couldn't let it go away. Well, Fat Max came out with their little portable laser 2005-ish, somewhere around there. And I immediately gravitated. I bought 2 of them so I could keep one in the car and one in the house. So I always have. And now Bosch is who I use. But you carry those. Any designer worth their weight should be checking all those things. You should know and write down, oh, the slab's got a slope. For whatever reason, we've got a slope. And at the same time, know what's going on. If you see you got a wall that's not plumb, you need to know how out of plumb it is. If you're building a tall cabinet that's 10 feet tall and you expect it to clear the baseboard at the bottom, what size filler do I need over there in order to accomplish this? So you need to know all that information you can if you're building to a ceiling, like we so often do.
Right.
It's like, what's my slope there? It all looks flat from down here, but I guarantee if you get up there with
Put something next to it like a cabinet.
yeah.
Do you come out in like framing stage and check those things? And while we have the ability to change them and fix them, we do that?
Absolutely. I think the earlier I'm out there to catch, because the way a builder typically works is they've got framing punch that's going to come up. That's where we catch all that stuff.
That's right.
Weeks before that. So we've got a list put together, everything we know we need. And so when the framing punch crew comes out to finish up their stuff, we can get anything and everything done. And then we're ready to move to our mechanicals.
We do we'll use engineered studs on cabinet walls, and we'll put blocking in place, and some of those things.
And our framers have the most advanced leveling equipment as well. So there's very little excuse for
our projects have
not having tight tolerances.
Wonderful framing by and large. I mean, they're all controllable at that point. In cabinetry, the way to really control that is if you're taking a frameless cabinet, wrap the side of it. A frameless cabinet, if you leave an exposed end without wrapping it with a panel, you're going to see the side of the hinge if you look behind the edge of the door.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And so when we went to putting panels on the side, finish them out, creating a flush inset look, well, now that gives me a way to add the wall, order that panel longer, and I can scribe. Everything's hidden. Nobody likes scribe molding. Well, when's the last time you saw a scribe molding on a project?
That's a trick that very few people would understand or know about.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's something that's evolved in our industry to where you want to see it's like lighting. You want to be able to recess the floor of the cabinet on a frameless cabinet. You don't want a light rail down there. The light rail is okay, but it's just another molding with a joint that you let your doors finish the bottom of it, and you recess the floor all the way across, cover it with a panel. Now we can build in our beautiful channel lighting under there. We can have our plug mold under there. Everything's no muss, no fuss. The backsplash can be the cat's meow, because that's really the throw and pillow of the kitchen, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to talk about how, I can love this stone. Oh, this stone's so important. It's like, yeah, the stone's important when I'm standing over looking down, but at half the time I'm in the other room looking across in my kitchen. I'm like going, it's the vertical surface that's visible.
Yeah, it's butchered up with a bunch of holes and electrical plates.
Yeah, what color electrical plate am I going to get it to look good on here?
Yeah.
The Grand has some wonderful equipment to be used on that. Also comes at a price. Plug mold's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we do have ways to conceal those, but they do.
And I want outlets everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't want outlets per code. Like one of the gripes was the new code on
the islands.
On islands.
Yeah.
No outlets on the sides of your islands. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to go back to the old days of an extension cord and a power strip so that I can use my food processor?
No, you just have to have one of those giant pop-ups.
Pop-ups, right. I did pay a lot of money for this stone, but let's cover it with an ugly outlet.
Yeah, cut a big hole in it.
Right.
And jeopardize drawer storage.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
It's got to go somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
I spent a phone call earlier today on that same subject with a builder that wasn't aware of the code change on that, and he came to find out, and he's like, I've got to find a pop-up that'll work. Is there a way in your island that with all your drawers? I'm like, well, there are drawers everywhere, buddy. That's how I design.
Yeah. Well, that's why
Below the waist is a drawer.
what we're doing, I mean, is we've got our knee wall that's behind the cabinet, and we build those extra wide so that we can then have space
Totally
back
agree.
there. But then you're reaching to get to it.
You're reaching, well, that's not too bad if it's in the pony wall behind it. And what I think important to do is to get those planned out so I can execute creating access panels to that electrical.
Mm-hmm.
That outlet's going to have a shelf life to it,
Yeah.
right?
Right. You got to be able to
You got to get
maintain
access.
it.
I can't get into that
Repair it.
wall without taking the stone off.
Yeah.
And we're not taking stone off to change an outlet out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
And they mount to the bottom side of the stone, many of them.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to ask you one more question that we ask
Sure.
all of our guests that come in here. And that is, what would you be doing if you weren't doing this? If you were not a cabinet designer, what job would you be doing?
I'd be an artist.
An artist. Yeah.
You already are.
You already.
Thank you.
Yeah. And a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever cared to do is create
Yeah.
every day. Like I said, self-starter. I taught myself to draw, I taught myself to do art. And I always felt like, well, I don't know. I had some really good mentors from my father, different people that are like, yeah, if you're bored, go dig a hole, fill it up, and then dig that hole again. He's like, learn to
You
work.
knew my dad.
Same parents, right? And I'm sure Rolf was the same actually as well.
Yeah.
I didn't have any problem with giving you a.
Oh, no. Yeah. We did lots of work at home for sure.
And so creating is just like an extension. There's so many ways to be creative. I would find something I'd love to paint, as we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
Cooking's creative. So I'd just be an artist.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Patrick.
Pleasure.
Where can people find you? Are you online? Do you have a social media presence, name of your company, website, things like that?
Yes, I do. Curated Cabinetry, LLC.com.
Okay. Easy enough. Well, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
That's it for another episode of Work in Process. Thanks for listening. If you've got a question, a topic suggestion, or want to start a project with us, send an email to hello@risingerbuild.com.
You can also find us on Instagram at risingerbuild_ATX or on YouTube by searching Risinger Build. We'd love to hear from you.